Most of us are taught that stress is normal, that fear keeps us safe, and the constant urgency is just a part of adult life. Yeah. But just imagine this, listeners. What if that story itself is the problem? What if peace is not something you earn for everything is handled, but something you choose even when life is unfinished? Today, on this episode of Healthy Mind, Healthy Life, we are exploring what it really means to decide that peace is a premium and to consciously opt out of fear, scarcity, and constant reaction. So, as you all know, listeners, this is the space where we talk honestly about mental health, inner growth, and the choices that shape how we live. And today's conversation is about choosing peace in a world that constantly rewards fear and pressure. My guest today is someone whose life has been shaped by deep questioning, long seeking, and inner reprogramming. Raised as a preacher's kid, she grew up wrestling with contradictions between faith, injustice, and lived reality. Her work today centers on helping people break free from inherited narratives and unnecessary limits so that they can reconnect with their highest self, their highest nature. So, we are diving into peace, fear, conditioning, and the courage it takes to step out of survival mode with my incredible guest, Robin Harris. Robin, welcome to Healthy Mind, Healthy Life, and it's really an honor to have you here with us.
Oh my, thank you, Sana, that introduction. Oh wow. I appreciate that. And your intro really centered me and grounded me in this topic, which is so important, especially during these radical times of polarization and AI this and AI doom and AI gloom and everything that's going on in the world. Peace is one of the most precious things we can cultivate for ourselves, and it's not something somebody else is gonna give us, it's something
Mhm.
we have to give to ourselves.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Robin, um, this idea that peace as a premium, like I want to actually start personally here. Um, Robin, growing up as a preacher's kid, surrounded by strong belief systems and then expectations. I mean, that's kind of a um very interesting spot to be in. So when did you first realize that the way life was framed around you was creating more confusion than clarity?
Well, interestingly enough, I felt very protected and safe for, uh, the first few years of my life, but there was this narrative coming from the pulpit that the world was not safe and the world was dangerous and, evil this and evil that. So out there was not safe. But I lived a very protected life. I was the youngest of 9 kids. I actually
Mm.
had siblings who are old enough to be my parents. And so I knew a lot of love, and it wasn't until I started engaging with the narratives that was delivered from a religious perspective that all started to fall apart. And I was like, "Whoa, wait a minute. This doesn't look like family. This doesn't look like love. This doesn't look safe."
Yeah, I can actually make a sense of it, because even if not nine siblings, but at least I'm the youngest one, and sometimes that protection really felt for me like a cage, like this box from where I cannot come out. So I really feel you in there, Robin.
It's interesting because my family is kind of a closed family, which is not
Mhm.
good. You feel safe, but you're not free to expand and explore and maintain that sense of safety. So it's kinda like a double-edged sword, you know?
It is, it is, Robin. And um Many people, see peace as something passive, even unrealistic. Personally, for me as well, sometimes I do really think, Robin, that in today's modern day and age, peace is something that, a normal person like me, I cannot achieve that.
Ugh,
And then, the world full of injustice, pressure, like extremes.
yeah,
When you say peace is a premium, what are you actually asking people to prioritize here?
I'm saying that peace is a power, and peace actually brings the protection and the invitation for opportunities and prosperity and for the divine to come in. Because when we are in a state of fear,
Mm,
biologically, we're reprioritizing being focused on threats and dangers.
yeah.
And when we're focused on threats and dangers, as we know, whatever the mind focuses on, now we begin to magnetize that. So when we have a whole nation that's radicalized around fear, what we're creating is an environment ripe for more things to be afraid of. And we've done this on such a large scale here that it's actually tearing the nation apart. It tears families apart. It tears communities apart. It tears nations apart. So fear is not something optional. If we want to not just survive, because we weren't designed to just survive. We were designed to thrive. And so we have to prioritize and take back our power. And one of the ways that we do that is opting out of this fear narrative. We have to opt out. It's like we're being bombarded with fearful messages about scarcity, messages about things going wrong, messages about war. And I'm not saying we bury our head in the sand, but how many times do you need to see that fearful story over and over and over and over again? And then once you see it, what are you going to do about it anyway? If you're not going to do anything about it, why are you watching this narrative over and over and over again, taking yourself into more fear? So prioritizing peace, and when you start to do that, you will begin to realize, oh, that's some work. It's that's some deep soul work to keep yourself centered and grounded and in
Mhm.
peace.
Yeah, yeah. And Robin, one thing, like personally, which what I feel is like, with respect to the younger generation. I mean, I mean, once again, and I mean, I'm just, kind of this is a practical perspective that I'm trying to put in here is, um, from a humanity POV, we are looking at global climate changes. We are looking at the entire structure of humanity kind of facing so many challenges out there, especially post pandemic. um what would you specially convey to the younger generations here who would think that, I mean, many, I mean, I've seen many people even talking about the fact that, we don't want to bring up children right now because uh, they will be at the risk of, living on a planet which is fighting with, so many challenges out there, like the entire existence itself is in crisis.
Well, for young people,
Mm-hmm.
I would first of all acknowledge that our generation has failed them.
Yeah.
We've failed them. We've not given them the fertile soil that they needed to come into this world and thrive. So I don't have any children, but I've got tons of nieces and nephews and great nieces and nephews, and I say, "I'm so sorry. I am I am so sorry that we have been so focused on our own wants and not paying attention to how the decisions we're making are going to affect future generations. But that being said, to the younger generation, I will say that you need to find your connection to source. However that looks for you, it doesn't matter. However that looks for you, because within you there is so much power, and you can have the courage, and you have your whole life ahead of you, that if you learn how powerful you are and begin to create from your own power and the presence, you can bypass the world's narrative. You don't have to buy into that narrative. You can opt out of it. That power cannot be taken away from you. So that power is still with you.
Absolutely. And it does not mean that, you have to go out of your way and it's a huge responsibility. I think whatever is possible within our capacity, with whatever controllables we have, the resources we have, we can do it in our own way. I mean, however small it is, because it is not, just for the sake of putting a post online on social media or telling five people that I've done this, I've done that, but something that you yourself find value in. I mean, in whatever capacity it is.
So true. It actually starts with something called proximity. And a lot of times, sometimes people want to go too far out before
Hmm.
they've managed the things that are within close proximity. And the one thing that is in very close proximity is your own mind and your emotions. Get a handle on that. Understand what it is. I mean, there is so much science out there. I mean, the
Mhm.
sages, the wisdom, the science all tells us that our minds are like treasures that we've not excavated. So get a
Right.
handle on that and find out, where does your joy come from? Where does your passion come from?
Mm.
And start tapping into what makes you fall in love with yourself and your life. And it could be something that the world doesn't align to, but I guarantee you it's not just you. It's so many of us on the planet. We need to find our tribes, right? That's gonna help. When you find people like, "Oh, you're my people." "Oh, we can support one another." The hero's journey is not a solitary journey, even though some of it is, but you have traveling companions. And so you don't have to play somebody else's game or be the influencer or, climb the you don't have to do what the world tells you is important. You need to find out what's important to you and what's important to your spirit, what makes you feel alive, and then cultivate that. Go deep. Don't be shallow. Go deep.
Yeah. Yeah. Not just staying alive, but feeling alive.
Yes.
Oh, that's really really powerful, Robin. Another kind of um like fear and scarcity. I mean, they are so normalized that um, I believe now we kind of we become numb, that we do not recognize itself, and then if we would like to opt out of it, um for people it can be sometimes unrealistic as well, or they may think that I'm being selfish by doing that. So, Robin, how do you help people recognize when fear based thinking is running their lives, without them even noticing?
Well, one of the things I really look at is what's going on with the nervous system. And one of the reasons why I love hypnotherapy is because we're looking at the subconscious mind, and the subconscious mind is accessed through our brain. So now we're talking about the neuroscience of it, but our nervous system, and we know that if you look at nature, you look at animals, even animals that are prey. If you look at think of like the gazelles on the African Serengeti or whatever. When they're being chased by the lion, yeah, they're afraid. They're running for their lives, right? And then they go into when the threat passes, they shake it off physically. They
Mhm.
shake it off. They decompress. They process that fear outside of their system, and then they go on living, frolicking, playing, eating, reproducing. Just they go on with the life. That is how nature designed fear to work. But
Mm.
humans have created an environment where we have made things ripe for chronic fear. That's unnatural. Nowhere in nature does that occur unless man has inserted himself, unless the human has inserted himself. So we have to understand our capacity and our capabilities don't necessarily match what the world is trying to market to us.
Mm.
So we have to make a decision. We have to make a decision that I'm going to take back whatever power I can take back, my power. I'm not powering over anyone else. I'm not controlling anyone else, but I'm going to take back my power and start creating a better narrative. And you can baby step it.
Yeah.
And when we talk about scarcity, we do have to we do have to put ourselves in a position where we can meet our needs. But when we're operating from a state of fear and scarcity, just being in that mind state makes it harder for us to do that. So at some point, we really have to make a decision. And everybody's had an experience of all your friends or your family were going right, and you were like, "Nah, I'm going left." Everybody was going to eat X, Y, and Z, and you're like, "Mm-mm, I don't want that. I'm having A, B, and C." Everyone's had the experience from a child. Children learn how to say no. We
Yeah.
children like, "Oh, no, I'm not eating those peas. Mm-mm. No, 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 I'm not eating that. You get that mess and then spit it out." So our ability to decline what's being offered to us, that's been with us since we were on the planet. We have to protect that and cultivate that ability to say, sorry, I'm not going that way. I'm not doing that. I'm not consuming your fear narrative. I'm not going to be on social media scrolling doom and gloom and just getting caught up in, the anger and the hopelessness. I'm not doing that. And there are alternatives. You don't have to do that, but you have to make a decision.
Exactly. Yep. Amazing. I wish we could have more time to talk about this, Robin, but before we wrap up, if listeners, they would like to further connect with you, share their thoughts and opinions, or seek wisdom on how to get started with this, because I believe healing always starts, it's always the best, when people are there, people are together in community. So if they would like to reach out to you, what would be the easiest ways?
Well, my website, 3hellos.com. And that's the number 3 and the word hellos, HELLOS.com. Um, you can contact me. You can look at the different levels of services. We offer some very entry level services and some more, services for people that are really ready to take on a project or whatever. But
Mhm.
if you go to the website, and you can also do a consultation with me if you just want to chat. I'm a real human. I'm available. I'm accessible. You can send me an email. I will reply back. If you want to schedule a chat, I will come and we can have a conversation. I'm here to support and advocate for humans.
Brilliant. That's beautiful. And very beautiful name, Three Hellos. And listeners, as I always do, I'll have all the links, the details mentioned in the show notes in the podcast episode description. So just find them attached along with this episode on whichever platform you listen to your podcast to. And if if this conversation with Robin connected with you, resonated with you, take a moment to notice where fear has been normalized in your own life and where peace might be asking for space. You just have to give the permission. And Robin, thank you so much for leading the way to help people take that step, that baby step, have that permission. Thank you. This
Thank
was really
you.
great.
Thank you.
And to all the listeners, you don't have to fix everything at once. It's fine. Small steps, baby steps, because sometimes the most radical step is choosing not to react. Thank you for listening to Healthy Mind, Healthy Life. If this episode supported you, share it with someone who might need it. And I'll meet again with you for another honest conversation about growth, healing, and living well. Thank you.